Okay, welcome back to the Domenick Nati Show on iHeartRadio and Intellectual Radio in Chicago. The time has come. I have him on the line, and we are very excited. We are talking to the one, the only, Bill Cosby. Bill, if it's all right, I'd like to just jump right into some questions. Now, you have been married for over 52 years. Now, I'm not going to, I just want to ask you a question. Does the entertainment industry make it difficult on a marriage? Has the industry itself made it difficult for you?
My wife has been the captain, the general, the leader of this family. And all of us, the children and her husband, we've all gone off and we've jumped off the tracks. And she has been the person to put things back on the track. I'm not saying how painful it is when she grabs you to put you back on the track. But the beauty and strength of this woman cannot be measured by any human beings, period. It is only, I feel, that divine intervention happened in my life, which I apologize to her for, that they said, okay, you're going to be Bill Cosby's wife. I don't know why they're punishing her. I don't know what she did in her other life, but she got me, and by George or by Camille, she's going to make this work or else get rid of him. I mean, I do have a shelf life. I do have a shelf life. Yes. So it is that Camille, Olivia Hanks Cosby, has been the strength, the lover, the love, the honesty, and integrity of our family.
That's cool. I like that. Yeah, I'm glad we got to ask you about that. So, you started your stand-up career in 1962. Obviously, those were different times than today. You did not incorporate race into your material. Why was that? Why did you feel like that wasn't necessary?
There's two things. One was when I was doing race material and I was interspersing it, a white guy who was a comic, we would all meet after we performed and go over how our audiences did. And this guy said to me, I didn't even know him, and he said to me, if you turned white tomorrow, you wouldn't have any material. And that really angered me, but not so that I lost control. But I looked at this guy, and I knew that he was wrong. So I set that. The other thing is, race, to me, is something that if you're going to talk about it, and especially in those days, coming through the 50s to the 60s, for me, there was nothing funny about lynching. There was nothing funny about yanking people off of a lunch counter. There's nothing funny in that picture of the hoses and the dogs doing the prostate operations. So, unless, when I'm talking about race, I'm going to give it to you without jokes. That didn't fit well.
Yeah.
With an audience that has come to laugh.
Yeah.
So I'm going to set that aside. Now, I noticed that the identification was in a humanitarian sort of human being effect. That people said, I identify. I identify, therefore I am with you. I identify, therefore I laugh with you. So when I talk about my wife, I have a black wife. No, that's automatic. I have a wife.
Right.
I have children. Well, my black children, no. My children. Okay, so my children want, when they turn 16, they want a car. You can identify with that. And all these things that turned out to be things that people could identify with. How did you get in my house? Said the white people to the black man. Said the Chinese people to the black man. Said, you see, we can go on and on and on. And it became something that I have heard 50-year-old people say to me, you know, my father was a devout racist, but he brought home your LP and said, I don't know what he called me. this man is funny. But what was he saying? In the subconscious, he's saying, he's laughing, and then in the conscious, he's not really getting it, that he's laughing because I'm human and so is he. And that's why he's liking it. I hope I didn't contradict myself because it was very sort of complex. But what happens is my routines did not make this man go out and love all black people or some. He just knew that he enjoyed the identification that I was putting there, which was I am a human being, and then he laughed, so are you. And it doesn't mean come on in and sit down and here's your hood for the meeting. Well, you started it.
Yeah. Now, you started the Cosby Show in 1984. I'm just curious to hear the story about it. Like, whose concept was it? Was it yours, or was it like a team of people? How did that come about?
It was at a time when sitcoms were dead. That's what everybody said. And they should have been dead. Sitcoms should have been dead because what they were trying to do with sitcoms was make the children smarter than the parents or any old person trying to tell them something. And this is written by grown-up white people. See how race comes into play?
Yeah, probably.
I kept looking at and thinking, man, how horrible was your life with your parents that you wanted to do this in writing? But later I found out it doesn't make any difference. These people just want to write stupid and have yuck jokes, because now you can see it. You can see it in movies. You can see it in animation. You can see it on TV. Anywhere. It's back to that idiot stuff that they always wanted to do.
Yeah.
So when Tartikoff came, there was a discussion with Tartikoff, and Tartikoff said, okay, because they watched The Tonight Show, and he saw the monologues that I was doing on The Tonight Show with Johnny. And he said, okay, let it go. So we put it together, and the first writer was a fellow by the name of Ed Weinberger, who, by the way, Ed and I are in the same class, 204, Central High School, Philadelphia. And I thought that was wonderful. Read the script, and then we cast the people. And then Marcy said, I want a baby. And that's where Rudy came from. This child who could just about walk and talk. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
So you're talking about somebody's going to be an actress to memorize lines. And then you had Malcolm, had Lisa Bonet, and then Tempest. And we did not yet have Sandra. I didn't have the older one set yet. But Felicia got the job because she is brought up by a real mother that I like. Not a bobblehead black woman shaking and everything is so forth and so on. A woman who could look at you and you knew you were in trouble.
Yeah.
and it did not make a wrinkle in the face. It was just from the eyes.
Yep.
To whether or not she looked you dead in the eyes or just turned her head a little bit to look someplace. And no hands on the hips, just a quiet, you're not in trouble, or you're going to be in trouble, or you're in trouble. And that's what I wanted. And Malcolm Jamal Warner was one of the most interesting auditions, because when he was reading, he was coming from whatever this foolishness is of where you talk back to your mother, you grunt, you do things like that. So I mean, I felt that he was a good actor, but his attitude needed direction. So I came down and I pulled him aside and we went outside and I said, you live with your mother? He said, yes, sir. He was 14 at the time. I said, and when your mother tells you to do something like this thing in the script, I mean, do you answer her that way? And a smile grew on his lips. And he said, no, sir. I said, then go back and act accordingly. And man, he changed in a heartbeat and has always approached his mother on TV and his father the same way.
Wow.
It's wonderful. It's wonderful.
Now, what about the Cosby sweaters? Were you involved with the wardrobe? I mean, was that something? I mean, I know that obviously you're an educated person in real life and also on the show. Is the wardrobe supposed to reflect that? I mean, it's because such an iconic thing, you know, in your career now.
I have no idea what you just asked me.
I'm asking the Cosby sweaters.
Listen, I know I'm iconic. I like that part.
You like that? I'll keep.
What are you asking? I know you also told me I'm very intelligent.
Right.
And then you said something. You said something about the sweaters.
Is that where?
You said something about the sweaters, and then you said, "Did you have anything to do with that?"
Right. So the Cosby sweaters, in quotes.
Yes, sir.
Yes. So I mean, is that was the sweaters you wore that people always talk about and stuff? I mean, is that something
Forget the people talking. What do you want to know about those sweaters?
Were you involved in the selection process of your wardrobe?
I did not care about it. Some sweaters I bought.
Okay.
Now, those sweaters were made, the sweaters that I bought are made by a fellow by the name of Koos, Koos. He's a Dutchman, Van den Akker. I don't think he was responsible for the slave trade.
Right.
But he did these patches of leather along with cloth materials, and I thought they were absolutely pieces of art that one could put your head through, and the sweaters, and they were interesting to look at, and I bought a number of them. Then there's a woman, her name is Sarah Lemire. She is a professional shopper. They call them stylists. She would go to the different department stores and look. Specifically, I wanted my character to wear sweaters as opposed to the doctor's suit and tie when he wasn't working.
I dig it.
Because I felt that at that time the suit and tie were very, very, they spoke for an educated person who was still at work, or it just didn't have a more relaxed feel. And I felt that the sweater would add a comfortable look was what I wanted, which, by the way, also made any time I put a suit on, the suit looked great and wonderful.
Are you doing Twitter, Bill? Are you doing stuff, social media, where fans can get at you? Well, another long pause.
Do you have any of those instruments?
Instruments? I do. Yes.
Look up BillCosby.com.
Okay. BillCosby.com, and that's where fans can get at your social media?
What do you see?
I see you? It's pulling up. I got a slow connection here. Yeah, Facebook and Twitter. I thought it'd be fun to hear it in your.
I thought it would be nice if you had already done that before you bothered me and woke me up this morning.
I know it's Twitter. A lot of people like to hear it in their own voice, but it is twitter.com/Bill Cosby. Now, Bill, is that you tweeting, or do you have a hired tweeter?
How would you know?
We would not know.
Then don't ask.
Only if you told us.
Because then you'll either believe or you won't believe.
Right.
I mean, there's no fair way that I can really do that without you guys, saying, but I'll tell you what it is. All of this is much better than fan mail.
Yes, no doubt.
No, really, because in fan mail, you get 850,000 letters a week, and they go into this company, and the people would look at it, and I don't know what they did, man, and they would answer something. There was also where they had a machine, and it would print out your picture with a printed copy of your written autograph. to be able to say, to type in, and the connection is an awful lot of fun.
Yeah. And
Very
3.4 million Twitter followers. So
and growing.
And growing.
Yes.
You're definitely doing something right. Anyway, Bill's a big fan of the show.
Yes, I am.
Right. So he's listening.
And you know why? Because I listened, so far this is the only program I've listened to.
Right.
Just the one with me on it.
Yes.
Right. That's the only one he
That's why
loves.
it's my favorite.
That's right. So if Bill's listening, you should be too.
And my name is Bill Cosby, and I approve this message.
Bill, thank you so much again.
Don't light the cannabis.
Don't light the cannabis. No. No, we will not be doing that.
Bye-bye.
Bye. All right, we're going to take a break, and we'll be right back with more of the Domenick Nati Show on iHeartRadio and Intellectual Radio.